Sunil to take over. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sunil Mirani. I'm one of the founders and CEO of Ugam Solutions, and thank you first of all to Ashok and CII for this opportunity. Let's start with looking at the marketeer's view of the world. I don't know how many marketing guys are here in the audience. Are there any marketing folks here? Okay, so hopefully some of you can identify with what I'm going to say. I apologize, and admittedly this view might be more Western or US centric, but that's where most of my clients are, so apologies for that. But if we start with looking at the marketeer's view of the world, what are some of the pressures or challenges or scenarios that he or she is faced with? First of all, given this whole recent financial crisis, as we all know, it's seen a tremendous destruction of both institutional and personal wealth, and hence significantly has altered the US and Western consumer mindset, both psychologically as well as in schematic shows savings rates have increased dramatically in the last few years. And as a result, marketers have to contend with what they're calling the new normal, which is almost like a permanent reset, a control-alt-delete, if you will, in many industries. And hence that's one reality that marketers have to contend with. Secondly, a tremendous margin pressure, both as a result of the first factor as well as fundamentally with increased competition, reduced product life cycle, and hence the window for product differentiation is very limited. All of this results in significant margin pressure on companies, which percolates down to the marketing functions. Third, again, largely US driven, is the changing demographics. We have both Gen Y, as they call it, which are the young 18, 21-year-olds, and the baby boomers, which are ones born in the 1945 area, so they are about 65 years and above. These two demographics are significant part of the population. So natives who probably born with iPods and iPhones in their years, and you have the retiring generation. And amidst all this, again, more in the US, the population becoming increasingly diverse, almost a nation within a nation. I think the census shows that the typical white American would be a minority in the next 20 years. So with this entire changing demographics, it means that the marketeers have to contend with this and constantly understand the consumers and change the way they approach them in terms of the product and the marketing message. Then of course is this whole migration to digital, and we've heard snippets about this all throughout today. But especially in the US, this is huge, both in terms of actual commerce or transactions which are done, and in many industries now, airlines, almost 40% done online, but in several other industries now, online being a significant percentage of transactions done. So both in transactions and in terms of marketing. And increasingly, survey after survey shown how now going further, companies and marketers are going to move their marketing budgets from the traditional to the digital channels. So huge migration to digital. And then of course this whole rapid social media, and we had earlier Gaurav talking about that, and especially in the US again, this is huge, and I won't talk much about, we heard all the statistics, but what this means is they're in charge of the conversations and they are in charge of the message. It's no longer the marketer who can control the message for the brands, but it's more about them engaging in a conversation with their consumers. And then of course the whole rapid proliferation of mobile marketing, various devices, not just the Nokia, I don't know where that person is, but also several other devices, and mobile marketing is huge, again several $1 million spent there. And finally, as a result of all this activity, as consumers seek information, transact, talk to other consumers online, and as increasingly the cost of storage of data decreases and different devices coming on, it's a huge data explosion. So as a result of all of this, amongst other things, it creates two imperatives for marketers. One is to get a holistic view of their consumers and get rich, holistic consumer insight. And second is to justify every dollar spent on marketing. And when I talk about consumer insight, I mean it's understanding both the why and the what. The why being more the attitudes, the what being the behavior. And the why can be understood by doing market research or survey research, which basically analyzes attitudinal data, And through analytics, data mining, modeling, it's all about understanding the behavioral data, and behavioral data through all the transactions on point of sale and all these other things. And this indeed is the holy grail and is the new imperative for today's Chief Marketing Officer. And as some of these comments show, this is indeed of utmost importance for marketers. Like the Forrester quote shows, all that blah blah blah, but transforming customer data into actionable intelligence and measuring the business impact of marketing will be the key success imperative for tomorrow's Chief Marketing Officer. And pretty much the same essence is quoted by the other one, the Chief Marketing Officer of Wells Fargo. So clearly this is what their need is. So if this is what's happening and this is what the need of the marketer is, what is the opportunity? And I think the opportunity is all about adding this science to the art of marketing, and what I call the marketing decision support, or helping companies and marketeers make better marketing decisions. So all along marketing was more an art, you didn't need to justify, but increasingly as all these things happen that we spoke about, and as marketing becomes more and more digitized, hence lot of data, hence can be measured, it's all about adding that science to the art of marketing, and I think that's wherein lies an opportunity. And this opportunity manifests itself in several ways. It's all about doing survey research, whether it's done online or through telephone, doing the analytics thereof, and that's again something can be done from anywhere. It's all about data mining and modeling, and again data mining both in terms of business intelligence or trying to understand what happened, and predictive analytics in terms of trying to predict what will happen. And in the world, things like online price comparison, web analytics, and so on and so forth. So what does it take to play in this arena and of course hopefully win? And I'll start here, just a quick background to give a sense of perspective where we are coming from, and this is the only slide on my company. We were established about 10 years ago. We are currently 1,000 people playing in this same arena by survey research, advanced analytics, digital marketing, and currently present in Mumbai, in Coimbatore since less than a year, and working with clients across the world. So that is the area of business that I understand. And as a predominantly offshore player, if I were to use that phrase, at least these are some of the things which I think will take to play in this arena. Firstly, it requires significant domain expertise and domain knowledge, and that's by that, first of all, across, if you see on an education spectrum, the need for people with some sort of analytical bent of mind. So whether it's that starting from a PhD level to a master's, a bachelor's in math, science, physics, generally those kind of skills. And when we say domain knowledge, it's across maybe 3 dimensions. First is the function, qualitative analysis, sampling, and so on and so forth. So a whole host of functional areas in which one needs expertise. Then there's expertise across industries, because in this business it's not just about knowing the technique or the technology, it's also understanding the business impact. So it's not just analyzing data, but understanding the business impact in the context of the client. So understanding the client's industry and the dynamics are very important, whether it's retail, media, entertainment, or whichever may be the area of focus. And finally, understanding the subtleties or the nuances of the markets. Retail in the US or Europe or UK or India, very different. So understanding those country dynamics are also very important. Next, important is also training. And because in many cases being done, or we are attempting to do, is done by people who have 10, 15 years of experience. And at a certain level, there is no substitute for experience, and the raw material of people use are also very important. So just like wine, the choice of grape is important, and a certain maturity and a process and time is important. Otherwise, you only get grape juice. So same way, it's not just about getting a body and putting him on the job, it's about getting the right person with the right background and giving that adequate amount of exposure and training. And therefore, this training entails many things. It's long training cycles and continuous training in smaller batches so you can give that personal attention. Import trainers where applicable, a lot of mentoring, and training not just how to but also why, so that they understand and think. One is for the talent pool. And like I showed earlier, this work, decision support, is all about data analysis, and given the skill sets here, given the 110 plus colleges, engineering colleges, we thought this would be a great place to tap into talent, both for the skills, the math, stat skills, and the diversity, both in terms of, there are some areas where we need the non-techies as well, and it would be good to get a pool which is not just all Mumbai focused and Mumbai concentrated. So that was one important decision criteria. The second was redundancy. Thankfully, we didn't need a consultant to tell us that we shouldn't put all our eggs in one basket. And we realized that, again, being only in 2 centers in Mumbai doesn't do it. So hence in Coimbatore, and Coimbatore for us does form a disaster recovery center out of all our locations. Third is the lower cost of operation, and I put a question mark there because perhaps it's too early yet. I guess we need to find out whether really that cost of operation is indeed low or not. So one is cost of operation, tax benefits I include there, etc., all of that. So that was one of the considerations. And probably the most important are the idlis and the coffee. Try as I might, I just can't get the same quality in Bombay. So maybe it's the water or the air, I don't know. So any opportunity to come here, I'm more than happy to do so. Has this worked? I don't know. As I said, we've been here less than a year. It's too early to say. And I've challenged my HR team that we should practice what we preach. And if we help our clients with mathematical modeling and we help them quantify everything, I want you to please quantify whether Coimbatore has worked or not. So I've asked them to do some modeling. Hopefully they won't do this kind of modeling, but they will do this kind of modeling. Call it a Coimbatore effectiveness model, where we'll take all the variables of salary cost, productivity, other cost of operation, whether transport, rent, etc., and the other soft factors, which were all the hypotheses with which we came here. Attrition would be low, work ethic would be good, etc., etc. So let's see. Hopefully we'll be able to create this model, and on the 11th Connect Coimbatore, perhaps I'll be able to, if invited, I'll be able to share the results. So to summarize, I think the need for marketeers to get holistic insight and ROI has never been greater, and hence there's an opportunity for providing marketing decision support. And given the skills required to do that, I think India, including Coimbatore, is, I think, very well placed to capitalize on this opportunity. And finally, just before ending, I think the guy from Microsoft, I should tell him he's not the only fashion designer, unfortunately. There are too many jargons in this industry also, and I hope, for God's sake, that we don't come out with another one. With that, I thank you for your attention. Thank you to CI for inviting me, and we're happy to take some questions later.